Hi everyone, we are going to go over adding and subtracting rational numbers, specifically integers in this example, and how to use a number line with them. Okay, so the first one we're going to go through is -6 plus 3. And we're utilizing our number line to determine the outcome. If we are combining our value with a negative number, and I'm going to write this on the side. Um, if we combine with negatives, you move left. If we combine with positives, we move right. Okay, so in this first problem, -6 plus 3. So we're starting at a -6 on our number line. So I'm going to utilize the number line and then I'll erase it in between each problem. Okay, so we're starting at a -6, which I've marked. And since we're combining with a +3, this number here is a +3, we're going to move 3 spaces to the right. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. And I end up at -3. Now there's a couple of different ways that this problem can be presented. So I've started at a -6, but I can also start with the +3 if I rewrite this problem. So if I start at a +3 and I rewrite this to add my -6 after, I'm going to erase what I did up here and show you how that's going to result in the same thing. So instead of starting at -6, I'm going to start with the +3. But this time when I read this problem, I'm actually combining it with a -6. And we said over here that if we combine with negatives, we move left. If we combine with positives, we move right. So we're combining this one now with a -6. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I also still end up at -3. So that's another way that that problem can be rewritten. Okay? There is another way I can rewrite this problem, and it's one that we're familiar to seeing, and that's as a subtraction problem. Now my 3 always must remain positive because that was what was given to me in the original problem. So you notice that all of the 3's I have, this 3, and now this 3 are all positive. Notice that my 6, and it would make a little more sense if I switched colors, but that's okay, is a negative. This 6 is a negative, which means the 6 right here is going to also be a negative. But I said we're going to write this as a subtraction problem, so I'm not going to include the plus sign, and I'm just going to write -6. Same idea. I start at a +3, which I did already over here, and then I'm going to move 6 spaces to the left because this number is a -6. So I still end up at that -3. So I've written this problem in 3 different ways, resulting in the same outcome. Okay, let's go on to another one. Let's go to problem 2. And this time I'm going to write this out as, we're going to go with, -4 plus 7. Oh, actually, I'm going to do -4 plus 9. Okay, so in this problem, I'm starting at a -4. Similar to that first one, I am starting on the negative side, so I plot a point here. And I'm combining this problem with a positive number. So that's a +9 I'm combining it with. So since I'm combining it with a positive, as we stated earlier over here, that we are moving to the right. So I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That puts me at a +5. So let's try another one. Let's do 6 minus 8. So this time I'm starting at a +6. Let me erase that from earlier. This time I'm starting at a positive 6. So I'm going to put a point on positive 6. And I'm combining this with a negative number. Even though I read this as 6 minus 8, I start to connect that minus sign to the number that it is in front of. So this minus sign ties as a negative to the 8. So since I'm combining it with a negative, I move 8 spaces to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I end up at a negative 2. Let's talk about other ways we can write this problem. Well, if we compare it back to this one, and we knew that these two here were connected, I can also write this with that addition sign in the middle, because combining means to add. So I can write 6 plus negative 8, and that also gives me negative 2. Now, if we even take that back a step further to here, in the beginning, I can rewrite the order by commutative property, and I can put that negative 8 first. As long as that 8 remains negative and the 6 remains positive, I'll get the same outcome of negative 2. Okay, here's another one we're going to go through. This next one, I'm going to combine two negative numbers together. So I'm going to start with negative 5 plus negative 3. So I'm starting at a negative 5 on my number line. So I'm going to make a point on negative 5, which is right here. So now I'm combining it with a negative. Even though I see a plus sign in my problem, I have to keep in mind that this number is a negative, and negatives mean move to the left. So I'm going to move to the left 1, 2, 3 times. So that puts me at a negative 8. But I also can rewrite this problem. So by commutative property, I could put the negative 3 first. So I could say that negative 3 plus negative 5 is equal to negative 8 as well. I also can write both of these problems without the addition sign. So I could say that negative 3 minus 5 is negative 8. I can also take this first one and write negative 5 minus 3 is negative 8. So this one has 4 different ways that I can rewrite the problem. Okay, and the last one we're going to do is a problem that looks like this. Suppose I said 2 minus negative 4. Well, now this looks a little bit different than what we were just doing. So I'm going to recognize that I have to start at a positive 2. So I'm going to place a point on positive 2. But now I have minus a negative 4, and this all serves as one piece. So I read that as a negative 4. Or I can say the opposite of a negative 4. And when I say the opposite of a negative 4, I really mean a positive 4. So we can rewrite this as 2 plus 4. 2 plus 4 is something that's familiar. We know that that's 6. I can also write this as 4 plus 2. I can even be creative and take this whole piece I have highlighted in yellow and move it to the front and say I have a negative 4 plus 2. And that also equals 6. So as long as I keep the signs the same throughout my expression as I rewrite it, the outcome will always be the same as the one you started with.